The dimensional ecologies of consciousness, alternative expressions that are congruent with the dimensional ecology of the omniverse hypothesis can be found in the literature on dimensional ecologies of consciousness. Dimensional ecologies of consciousness consist of bounded ranges and frequencies of energies. They can contain diverse levels of consciousness and life unique to a dimension, and can promote the evolution of consciousness across dimensions. In our universe, dimensional ecologies of consciousness can be constructed around dimensions such as time and light that earthling human science is only beginning to explore. Dimensional ecologies of consciousness in our universe function in effect at dimensional ecologies local to our universe that in turn interface with the larger dimensional ecology of the exopolitical and spiritual dimensions of the omniverse. One function of the local dimensional ecologies of consciousness in our universe is to provide stratification and diversity in the evolution of consciousness within our universe. For example, Earth humans are based in the third time-space dimension of our universe's dimensional ecology of consciousness. More evolved humans, such as Arcturian humans, have described themselves as based in the sixth light dimension of our universe's dimensional ecology of consciousness, according to one system of consciousness stratification. In terms of their relative position in our universe's dimensional ecology of consciousness, Arcturian humans are more evolved than Earth humans. Souls choosing to incarnate from the interlife would experience vastly different lives in the exopolitical dimensions as Arcturian humans from what they would experience as Earth humans. The soul development for a soul incarnating as an Earth human could, in theory, be greater in magnitude than that experienced by a soul incarnating as an Arcturian. Cosmologists Barbara Handclough and Jerry Clough have explored a dimensional ecology of consciousness of 9 dimensions specific to our universe, galaxy, and our Earth. In describing the dimensional ecology of consciousness in our universe, they state that the first and second dimension are levels within our 3-dimensional Earth, from core to surface. The fourth dimension is the realm of collective thought that bridges the physical and unseen worlds. And the 5th through 9th dimension are celestial. They suppose that most scientists will be unable to imagine the unseen realms that reach beyond the 4th dimension except by means of mathematics, such as topology and superstring theory. Dimension-based ecologies of consciousness. The literature on the density-based ecology of consciousness system is congruent with the dimensional ecology of the omniverse hypothesis. The major sources to date of the density-based systems of describing ecologies of consciousness are channeled or interdimensionally derived information. Philosopher George Gurdjieff, 1866 to 1949, also developed systems for stratification of consciousness that are congruent with the dimensional ecology of the omniverse hypothesis. Although he does not address the multiple universes of the multiverse or their dimensional ecology with the spiritual dimensions of the omniverse, cosmologist David Wilcock constructs a density-based model of our universe that is congruent with ecology of consciousness within the omniverse. Wilcock's model is based on channel material, the law of one, and on replicable empirical evidence, including that of Dr. Michael Newton. Wilcock writes, although this is not considered a popular notion by any means, there is extensive scientific proof that the universe itself is alive. It is a vast, singular living being, and we are far more interconnected with it than we may have ever believed. A unified, conscious energy field generates the entire cosmos, and this hinted energy can appropriately be called the source field. In this new science, galaxies, stars, and planets are life forms on a scale we can barely imagine. The basic laws of quantum physics arrange DNA and biological life out of atoms and molecules we would normally consider to be inanimate. Natural stargates or time doors are also discussed at this point. These natural passageways, which exist throughout the universe and allow us to travel to different times and places, are routinely used by souls as a basic form of travel. End of quote. The literature on dimensional and density-based ecologies of consciousness can be verified and tested against emerging replicable empirical evidence for the dimensional ecology-derived hypnotic regression from soul memories of the interlife. That literature can also serve as useful guides in suggesting future directions for interlife or afterlife research based on soul memories of the interlife or other quantitative methods. The literature on density-based ecologies of consciousness describe densities or octaves of levels of energies of consciousness. The ecology of consciousness structured around density is the interaction of levels of consciousness in the universes of time, space, matter, and energy of the exopolitical dimensions, as well as in the spiritual dimensions of the omniverse. According to one model of the ecology of consciousness, as defined by density, quote, density is more or less the same as dimension. Density denotes a vibrational frequency, not a location, which is the term dimension implies. The density structure of this reality is primarily expressed in levels, though each level has sub-levels within it. The density scale is a model used to communicate one's perception or orientation in relation to other realities. In the density-based models of the ecology of consciousness, local to our universe, quote, density denotes a qualitatively distinct level of being. Each density has its own structure of life forms, perceptions, and typical lessons for the consciousness residing in it. Here, we need to present an explicit description of the nature of various density levels. And I think that that's as far as we're going to proceed today. And tomorrow, on Thursday, July 16th, we'll start in with the first density, second density, etc. But I'll just give an introduction. The first density, according to density-based models of the ecology of consciousness, the first density is the consciousness base of inanimate matter and energy local to our universe in the exopolitical dimensions. So this has been reading from the dimensional ecology of the Omniverse, and we are now exploring the densities of consciousness. And if you wish to explore this further, you can go to the Omniversity blog, which is at omniversity.info. And you can also go and explore further in the Omniversity books, including the Omniversity Trilogy, which is at universebooks.com. I'm Alfred Lambermont Weber, and thank you very much for joining us today. We have a very, very active participation here from the chat, for which we want to thank you. So thank you very much, and until tomorrow, Thursday, July 16th.